The ship Ardent Dawn drifted through the deep quiet of space, her engines humming softly against the endless dark. Inside, a small human crew watched the stars slide past their windows. They had been traveling for months beyond the charted systems, searching for anything that still whispered of home, traces of the old colonies humanity had scattered across the galaxy long ago. Most of those colonies were gone now, faded into myth. But humans had always been stubborn about one thing. They never stopped looking. The signal came without warning, a faint pulse on the edge of their scanners. Slow, repeating, like a heartbeat. At first, no one noticed. The pilot was half asleep at her console, the engineer was checking fuel levels, and the captain was staring out into the void, as she often did, thinking about how quiet the galaxy could be. Then the communications officer frowned. "Captain, I'm picking something up," the captain turned. "Another relay echo? No, it's older than that. Pre-Exodus coding pattern. Human frequency, that woke everyone up. Location?" The officer traced the signal. "Source is a planet in Sector 927, uncharted, about 3 hours out at full burn." The captain's eyes narrowed. "A human signal that old—" The pilot leaned forward, voice soft with disbelief. "That's impossible. No one's lived out here for centuries." The engineer chuckled, low and thoughtful. "Then maybe we're about to meet ghosts." They reached the planet 3 hours later. It was a quiet world, pale blue clouds over wide stretches of gray rock and green haze. The surface shimmered faintly with dust storms that glowed in the light of a nearby red star. As the Ardent Dawn entered orbit, their sensors came alive. The planet wasn't empty. There were shapes down there, massive structures scattered across the equator, half buried and half ruined. The pilot slowed the ship. "I'm reading power signatures. Weak but still active." The officer's voice was barely above a whisper. "That's where the signal's coming from." The captain studied the display. The ruins were human in shape. Straight lines, steel towers. But they twisted in ways that weren't. Some angles bent wrong, flowing like stone and metal had grown together. "Prepare for descent," the captain said quietly. The landing was smooth. They set down on a wide plateau near the largest ruin. Broken tower reaching out of the mist. The air outside was thin but breathable. When the crew stepped out, the silence hit them first. No wind, no birds, no sound at all except their own footsteps echoing off the stone. The engineer crouched beside a fragment of wall. The material was strange, part steel, part something else. Almost like it had been rebuilt by something that didn't understand how humans made things, but tried anyway. The pilot ran her gloved hand along a cracked panel. "How long do you think this has been here?" "Hundreds of years," the engineer said. "Maybe more." The captain turned toward the tower. "The signal's coming from inside." They entered through a broken gate, light from their suits spilling over walls lined with old cables and shattered displays. The corridors were massive, almost cathedral-like. In some places, vines had grown over old machines. In others, alien-looking glyphs glowed faintly under the dust, symbols that weren't human but looked like they had been added later. The officer tapped a handheld scanner. "The signal's repeating every 7 seconds. Message code is ancient Earth standard but scrambled. Can you clean it up?" the captain asked. "Trying." The static filled the air, then a faint human voice came through. Broken, ghostly but real. "We are still here." The sound echoed down the hall. The pilot froze. "Did it just say yes?" the officer said. It did. They continued deeper into the ruins. The further they went, the more the systems responded to their presence. Lights flickered on one by one as they passed. Doors opened slowly, groaning as though awakening from a long sleep. Somewhere far above, machinery stirred, faint vibrations running through the floor like the heartbeat of the planet itself. The captain touched her wrist display. "Whatever built this place, it recognizes us. Or it remembers us," the engineer said softly. They reached a wide chamber at the tower's core. A massive console stood in the center, surrounded by broken screens and collapsed scaffolding. The faint hum of power pulsed beneath it. "This is it," the officer whispered. "The source." They worked in silence, brushing off the dust, reconnecting old circuits, stabilizing power. The captain and pilot cleared debris while the engineer rerouted energy from their ship's batteries into the structure. As soon as the console lit up, a cascade of holograms burst to life around them. Human figures, faces frozen in mid-speech, flickering and fading. Some looked like explorers, others like colonists. One by one, their voices overlapped in a soft chorus of static. "We are still here. We are still here." The captain stepped closer. "This isn't a distress call," she said slowly. "It's a recording." The officer nodded, eyes shining in the dim blue light. "A message left for whoever found it." "But why?" the pilot asked. "What were they trying to say?" The engineer tapped the console. "Maybe it's more than one message. Maybe it's a timeline." Hours passed as they decoded fragments. The more they uncovered, the clearer the recordings became. The colonists had arrived here centuries ago. At first, everything had been normal. They built cities, grew food, established contact with nearby worlds. Then something happened. Not war, not destruction. Something stranger. The recordings showed humans working side by side with tall, luminous beings, alien forms of light and shape. They were building something together, something vast. Then the footage ended. The rest of the data was corrupted beyond recovery. Only the final phrase remained, looping endlessly. "We are still here." The crew sat in silence for a long time. The captain finally spoke. "It's not a warning. It's a reminder." "Of what?" the pilot asked. "That humans survived here. That they built something bigger than themselves. Maybe with others." The engineer leaned against the wall, looking around the silent chamber. "Then where did they go?" No one answered. The air felt heavier now, not frightening, but full of weight, like standing in the middle of a memory that hadn't ended. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon. The crew camped near the entrance, the faint glow of the ruins lighting the valley below. They shared quiet words and soft laughter, voices small against the endless sky. The pilot looked up at the stars. "You think we'll ever know what happened to them?" The captain followed her gaze. "Maybe, maybe not. But they wanted us to find this. To remember them," the engineer smiled. "Guess that means we're not as alone as we thought." For a moment, none of them spoke. The planet seemed to breathe with them, soft winds moving through the ruins like sighs of something ancient and kind. The next morning, the officer returned to the console one last time. "I've stabilized the message loop," he said. "It should play continuously now." "Good," the captain said. "Let it run. Let it keep speaking." As they prepared to leave, a faint sound broke through the static again. Different this time. The tone was slower, heavier, like the system had finally finished a long calculation. The officer frowned. "Wait, there's another layer underneath the main message." The captain turned back. "Another message?" He adjusted the controls. The static cleared and the voice spoke again, this time clearer than before. "We are still here." Then after a pause, new words formed. "They are coming back." The room fell silent. The crew stood together, the hum of the machines surrounding them. None of them spoke for a long time. The meaning of the words hung in the air, and not threatening, not fearful, just fast. The captain's voice was soft. "Who do you think they are?" The officer looked at the glowing console. "Maybe the ones who built this with us. Maybe the ones we lost." The pilot smiled faintly. "Then I hope they remember us too." The captain looked out toward the horizon where the red sun was rising again, spilling light across the ruins. "If they're coming back," she said, "then we'll be here to meet them." As the ardent dawn lifted off, the message echoed through the towers below, stronger now, carried by the planet's winds for the first time in centuries. "We are still here. They are coming back." And for the first time in a long while, the crew of the little human ship felt that the galaxy wasn't empty after all. Somewhere, out there in the vast dark, something had remembered humanity and was on its way home.